You're listening to the Packernet Podcast Network.
U.S. Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why U.S. Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from U.S. Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Emilio in Tennessee. Got the old Glory in the background. Love to see it. We got Tim all dressed up, nowhere to go, man. That shirt is clean. I ain't gonna lie.
That is. Mrs. G, I need to know.
Yeah. Tell him, Emilio. Get the.
I need to know, Miss G. Where'd we get it? I need to find one. Is it an untuck it? What are we working with here?
I told him offline too, fellas. If I tried to pull off a shirt that snug, I'd look like Rosie O'Donnell. It just wouldn't happen, man. I'm just telling you right now, it would not happen. But Jacob, what are you doing, man? You come skating in here at the last second, bro.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be me and you again, having to carry the show like always, but. Look who it is, man. All of a sudden, a couple of guys start showing up once the pads start getting on, and, you know.
Here's some guys.
Here's some guys.
And you know what happens, man, when those pads start popping over there at practice, you know football season's right around. We got on here a little early, me and Emilio. He's in here blasting music, and he was playing a game. I'm like, what are you playing, Emilio? Show these people what you were playing just a second. Look at this, Jake. Look at that old football game, bro. What's it called, Emilio?
It is the Mattel Classic Football 2 here. We got score, status, kick. We got the pass button and 4 options to run. Me and my dad used to go back and forth on this thing for hours, but I'm still runs like a champ. I mean, better than the Xbox down the hall.
Look at that right there, boys. Look at that. You kidding me?
All you need is a AA battery, right?
Oh, AA. That's it, Tim. You take this on a trip, you could get through the whole trip with 4 Duracells. I mean, you're good.
Jacob, where's the hit stick on that pad? I don't see it anywhere. Do you remember that?
I don't know. What I don't get how you play. Is that one of those
I don't know.
We're going to give him some
Can you power it on? Yeah, let me see.
So, I don't know if you'll be able to tell.
Hold on, I got you right here.
Here we go.
Look at this. We're going to get a copyright strike for playing.
So you got 3 dots. You got 3 levels. You got I just threw a pick. So thanks.
That's Sean Clifford. Yeah, Sean Clifford in. You're good, man. Right.
I got some advice for y'all. Take 2 weeks off, then quit.
Good stuff.
Oh, man, I love it. Dude, some of those old games like that brings back so many good memories. I never played that one. Don't get me wrong, but man, I remember the old electronic football. You know what I'm talking about, Tim, where the board vibrates and the player just run all over.
Yeah, I had one of those.
I had one too.
Chaos. Looks like the Chicago Bears offense out there. They're just going in different directions and falling off the table, and absolutely horrible. But yeah, love that old stuff for sure. But let's get into some Packers talk here, gentlemen. So had a little bit of news drop earlier today, and some people will just roll their eyes at this. That's cool. You know, fan how you want to fan. I thought it was really cool. I personally like the top 100 list. It's something that I enjoy watching every year. Some of you may or may not have ever tuned into it, but basically what they do is players from around the league, they have ballots to fill out, and the players decide who are the top 100 players in the game today. And typically, if a team's fan base doesn't have many people on it, they just joke and talk about how it means absolutely nothing. And then, of course, when you got a bunch of people on it, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But this was really cool, man. We talked earlier today, me and Jacob did, about this, first 9 games and then games 9 through 19, how it was just night and day for Jordan Love, and he completely turned the season around, all that, right? Well, for those that are just saying it was just one half a season and he wasn't as good as you think he was, check this out. He lands number 34 on the top 100 from NFL Network this year. Number 34. Like that was I thought there was a chance he would crack the top 100, seeing it was a first-year starter, and he did struggle there in the first half of the season. That absolutely blew my mind. Look at the players he's ahead of, too. Devontae Adams, Joe Burrow, Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, Tua Tagovailoa, Josh Hines Allen. He's right behind Puka Nacua, Quincy Williams, and Deron Bland. It's just wild, man. Absolutely wild. I want to get your all's take on it, and we're going to hit an article real quick by Bill Huber. Bill Huber says in a tweet, he says, Jordan Love is ahead of a bunch of veteran quarterbacks on the NFL's annual top 100 list. And this, of course, we'll just dive into the article. What do you guys think about that, though, Jordan Love being number 34 on this list? We'll go around the horn with it. I don't care who goes first.
I mean, I think it's kind of cool. Isn't this, if I'm not mistaken, kind of like how you get your all-pro voting compared to like Pro Bowl, where this is more with the players, with the actual front office people and that kind of stuff think. So it's a little more respected, in my opinion. So, yeah, I think that's great. I honestly would not have expected him to be sub 50 in his first real year starting. And, the fact that he's above guys like Joe Burrow and Tua, and I really do think he's going to take a crazy big step this year. He just seems like the type of player where I don't see regression coming up anytime soon in his career. I just don't. Yeah.
No, and Clayton, you're muted, bud. But honestly, Jacob, when I saw that tweet come across from Clayton, I clicked on it, watched the video, got some chills, and was like, dude, the fact that he's 34 and getting the respect that he deserves, honestly, because, they would be the ones to tell you if it's fake or, if it's real. They're the ones actually on the field, playing against him and everything. So I love it, man. And it's awesome who he sandwiched between and in front of. You saw just on the screen there, Tua and Joe Burrow. It's great.
Yeah. Tim?
Yeah, I totally agree. I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. I would have had him somewhere close to like 10 or 11 on the list, but that's just me. That's just me. But realistically, it's cool to look at stuff like this, but I think the most significant thing, can you pop that first screen grab up there with his spot on the list?
Yeah.
Is the fact that, I only see one other quarterback on this screen grab, and that's Joe Burrow. And, Jordan's a few slots ahead of him. So, what's interesting to me would be to look at the quarterbacks on this list that are, higher than Jordan, and compare him to the other quarterbacks in the league. I know this is an overall, top list, and I get it. But I truly believe that, of all the young, core group of these young quarterbacks that are kind of taking the league by storm here, Jordan Love and CJ Stroud come to mind as the guys that have like virtually no ceiling at all. And there's no telling how crazy of a career these guys could have. I mean, we look at the career Mahomes has had so far, and I fully believe in my heart of hearts that Jordan Love could meet or exceed those type of numbers and, Super Bowl titles and everything. So, I put him at number 11 on my list. So,
yeah. And Mike Tannenbaum, talked about it earlier in the year, and people rolled their eyes and made fun of him. Former GM in the league. I think he spent 6 years with the Jets. They had, I think it was either 6 or 7 years, and it was 6 of the 7. No, I think it was 6 years, and 4 of the 6 years they had a winning record. They went to the AFC Championship game. I mean, he was a fairly successful general manager. And he was talking about, if I was starting a franchise today, I'm taking Jordan Love because of the upside, right? The untapped potential. Now, what's cool is this article by Bill Huber here. It says Green Bay Packers quarterback Jordan Love made his debut on the NFL's annual top 100. He ranks 34th. It says Love, who tied the Bengals' Joe Burrow and the Jaguars' Trevor Lawrence for the number one in the NFL with annual salary of $55 million per season, ranks ahead of former Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers, among many, many others in this year's top 100. Here are the quarterbacks ranked between 31 and 100. So you've got Trevor Lawrence at 94, Aaron Rodgers at 92, Kirk Cousins at 81, Justin Herbert at 75, Jared Goff, 48, Matthew Stafford, 42, Joe Burrow, 39, Tua Tagovailoa, 36. Quote, he can do pretty much everything, teammate Kenny Clark said in the NFL.com video. There was someone else, too. Let's see here. Among the quarterbacks who were expected to rank ahead of Love, C.J. Stroud of the Texans, Brock Purdy of the Niners, Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, Lamar Jackson of the Ravens, Dak Prescott of the Cowboys, Josh Allen of the Bills, and Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Jordan Love's a better quarterback than half of that list, other than Mahomes and maybe Josh Allen and Lamar. I'll take Jordan Love over Jalen Hurts. I'll take him over Dak Prescott. I'll take him over Brock Purdy, and I'll certainly take him over C.J. Stroud. Call me a homer. I don't care.
Everybody drive home safe. Thanks for coming to the show. Emilio said, thanks, Tim.
No, I said I like to take Tim. I do.
Thanks.
No, it's true. I feel like it is true. C.J. Stroud gets a lot of love. So I'm just waiting for a little bit of that to bounce back towards our man.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. Your Chicago Bears linebacker T.J. Edwards got to see Love in the first game of last season as well as the last game. Quote, he was moving us with his eyes, Edwards said in the NFL.com video. He was doing things top quarterbacks do. He can make every throw and escape from the pocket. For a younger guy, he manages the game well. Let's see what else it says. I think anytime you have your starting quarterback out there, that's very important, not only for the operation of the offense, but for the morale of the offense, of the whole, and the team. Offensive coordinator Adam Sinovich said on Monday, you can see guys rallying around him and just respond to his presence. So it's great to have him back. So, I mean, obviously that was all over the scouting report that Jordan Love was a natural-born leader. I just think it's absolutely freaking awesome that he's ahead of some of those quarterbacks right there. Again, I expected him lower on the list, but what did it say? Pull it back out there. I missed it.
So Tim's got the button down on. He's standing on business.
Hey, I said it before. I'll say it again. You dress for the job you want, not the job you have, right?
That's right, Tim.
That's right.
That's right, Tim.
I think the same person that was quoted said that also said,
"Cream will rise to the top." Oh yeah.
So there you go. I thought that was cool. We'd hit on it real quick. The top 100, Jordan Love cracking into that. Now, we had a bunch of pressers earlier today. Jacob, you want to add anything to that? Did we get your take on that at all, man? Do you feel like how do you feel about that, him being in 34 spot?
Yeah, we talked about it. I just can't tell if Tim is going to win the Wes Hodkowitz lookalike contest or if he's going to about to do my taxes. Hey.
Tim, my man.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Got him.
All right, let's see what we got here. Jeff Hafley today spoke to the media, and I'm just telling you guys, he absolutely crushed it. Did you guys get a chance to hear any of this?
I did. He's awesome, dude.
So what do we always talk about? Pressure pick, coverage, sacks, right? We always talk about that. And typically if somebody gets an interception, they're the hero, and people don't slow down to take their eyes off the ball and see what actually happened on the play, what forced the throw, on and on and on. He kind of hits on that right here with this clip. I put Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley explains how pressures lead to picks and the importance of everyone on defense doing their job. Here we go.
Right now, Evan's got the 3 picks. Everybody else has 1 or 2. Is there something about your defense that puts those guys in position to make those plays?
He was asked about Evan Williams.
Well, I think in our defense, you can look at the guys having the interceptions right now, but I think it all starts up front with the rush, right? When you get a rush and you're aggressive up front and the quarterback can't throw in rhythm, or we tip a ball, or we get our hand up, or we're disruptive and they're in the right place at the right time, I think it's a combination of rush plus coverage. And Evan seems to be in the right place a lot right now. So hopefully he continues to do that. But I do believe that, and I tell the defense all the time when I show turnovers to start every single meeting because it is the most important thing. And I show it in front of the whole defense, and it's not just rewarding the guy who intercepted the ball. It's why was the ball intercepted? And you turn on the tight copy, and it's because the 3 technique got pushed and he got his hand up and the quarterback had to change his arm angle, right? Or the quarterback had to step up in the pocket and, throw off balance. Like, those are the things that tie in, and I think everybody needs to understand that.
Emilio.
Speaking that language right there, Coach.
Man, I nerd out over this stuff, dude.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all one unit, right? We can't just have 99 cover corners and not get any rush, or else we're going to be toast after the first quarter because they're going to be exhausted. So it's all going to come together as playing as one. And I think he's preaching that. I like that he brings all those to, the forefront of their mind every morning. We start it. Let's figure out a couple of turnovers. Here's a fumble. Here's, 2 picks. What else can we do? Even on a fumble, you got the same sort of thing. Maybe you got push inside. The back had to bounce it outside. The backer had a better line on him. And then the nickel came in and punched it or something. So I like that he's just kind of beating it into their head sort of thing.
Yeah. I love what he said about Evan Williams, too. He kind of curbed the enthusiasm there a little bit because you don't want rookies to get too big of a head, right? And then, of course, Paul Brettel tweeted this out earlier today, too. He said, back in April, longtime Packers scout Sam Seal described Evan Williams as, quote, instinctive and, quote, around the ball. We are seeing that in camp with Williams having 3 interceptions in 6 days. A pick a day makes the bad feelings go away was evidently the quote that someone used. It might have been Evan. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But so definitely want to show him some love there because, again, he's making plays. But I love how Hafley said it like he just kind of grinned like, we'll see if he keeps doing it. But he's kind of in the right place at the right time right now because the defense is absolutely humming. So, Tim, Jacob, you got anything you want to add to that, what he said there, man? It's just a breath of fresh air hearing people kind of talk about defense at this angle for sure.
Oh, I'm fired up, man. I'm more excited about this defense than anything else. I mean, I feel like our offense is going to take steps forward like we all predict. But this new regime in Green Bay on the defensive side of the ball is something to be marveled at, honestly. And I really respect Coach Half's approach, just how he works with the guys and also, scheme-wise as well, which we'll get to see more of as we, get closer to the real deal football here coming up in September. But, yeah, man, this is just a breath of fresh air. You hit it on the head, Clayton. This is great. I love it.
Definitely. Smitty in the chat said Hafley's presser was amazing. Loved his part on Gary's leadership. Matter of fact, that's what we're going to play right now. That's a perfect segue. Look at you marking that, Jacob. Man, you on it. Anything you want to add before we hit that, Jacob?
No, I'll touch maybe on it after.
All right, here we go. This was Jeff Hafley. He was asked about Rashawn Gary and what he kind of means to this defense. This might have been my favorite quote of the day, or this favorite segment of the day, was just him talking about Gary. Leadership isn't appointed, it's taken, right, in every aspect of whether it's business, sports, life, whatever. Anyone who's waiting to be appointed a leader, you're not really a leader. Leaders are the ones who take the bull by the freaking horns, and that's what Gary does. But here he is talking about Rashawn Gary.
What have you thought of the start that Rashawn has been off to, and now seeing him actually in your scheme and what he's doing out there?
Hey, he's disruptive. What you don't really find out is how hard these guys practice until you get them live. And when you see him get off the ball and you see his intensity and you see his acceleration and you see how disruptive he can be, that's a credit to him. And I know he's bought in, and I know Rebs and Coach VO have done a really good job in that room. But then you see the leadership. I mean, there was an instance in practice where, he thought we should be even more intense, and he asked if he could grab the group. And I just looked at him. I said, yeah, I mean, definitely take ownership. And if you don't like something, do something about it. And he did, and the intensity picked up. And that's something that you guys might not see, but I think it's important to note when your best players are your best leaders and they expect to practice and be great every day, that's special. So I appreciate that from him.
Jacob, you have the floor, sir. How awesome is that, man?
Yeah, that was super awesome. And like you talked about, Hafley seems really good at deflecting praise. And anytime there's any sort of good stuff to be said, he makes sure that he quickly diverts it to someone else or a position group. One thing that I noticed about him when they were asking him specifically, they were like, hey, how's Jair and Stokes doing in that cornerback battle? He went on to say something pretty good about Stokes, said he had a couple good days. And then he was like, you should look at Carrington Valentine. And, blah, blah. I went on to talk about Carrington Valentine because he knows, I think, that Jair doesn't need to be fluffed anymore. He's the guy. But maybe he needs to start making them look at other guys at different levels. He also went on to comment about how it's really easy to coach this group because while they are super young with guys like Valentine, Kalen King, and you could argue Stokes, and obviously in the safety room with all the new guys we have, with the new linebackers we have, he said at every position group we have established leaders. Like in the D-line, you have guys like Kenny, you have Preston, you have Gary. You have Quay in the linebacking room that's going to help the younger guys, and McDuffie and Wilson and that kind of stuff. In the safety room, you have X. It's the constant. In the cornerback room, you have Ja. He's like, so I basically just have to get here and kind of help them understand the why as to what we're doing, because these guys are already helping them do the what and the like how. So it's really cool. Like he just seems like he's got these guys excited, and he knows that they're bought in. He's not even afraid to say that, which I think is kind of cool too, because he's like, everybody's bought in. Like they completely believe in what we're doing. And that's half the battle, I believe, to get grown men to really, come on, rah, guys, everybody on the bus, we're going to sing the same songs.
Yeah,
it's good.
Completely agree, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Because even the rah, Jacob, also bringing that to practice. I know that Matt was talking about it with, the scuffle and everything, but to be able to bring that energy to work every day, that's something that is, embedded in them and sort of preached rather than, anything other than that. But when the players bring the energy, that's when it makes all the difference. That's when you get, those big plays. You get everyone hyping each other up. You get Rashawn screaming at the third stringers because they made a big play. So all that is, the aspect within the team building. So
US Cellular has noticed the way we use our phones has gotten ironic. We try to put our phones down for dinner, but the menu's on a QR code. That's ironic. We hit like on social posts that we don't actually like, which is ironic. Which is why US Cellular created Us Mode, to help us reconnect with each other and use our phones less ironically. A phone company wanting people to use their phones less is ironic. Let's find us again with Us Mode from US Cellular. Visit uscellular.com/built-for-us to get started.
You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com. You're a podcast listener, and this is a podcast ad. Reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Lips and Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a reproduced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience with Lips and Ads. Go to lipsandads.com now. That's LIBSYN ads.com.
It's great.
So true. I mean, he said that from day one, that he, just wanted to put guys in a position to be successful and not give them too much on their plate, not too much to think about and diagnose, just go out there and be in the best position to make a play. And he's leading by example right now. We're already seeing it, a couple weeks into camp here. This is great.
Yeah. Ron Sample says Hafley seems to really focus on what guys' strengths are. That's a great way to construct the team. Absolutely agree. Chris Ian says don't sleep on Ballantyne. He's our cornerback too in the waiting. I just hate his age, Chris. Like he's already 29 years old. It's like, I agree with you. I think he could arguably be the second best corner on this team, but it's how long is he going to be here, right? Because he's about to turn 30, and at least he got to have a cup of coffee in the league and a cup of coffee in the big time, as Macho Man once said. But we need that drop too. But
I agree with Chris though. Like if Stokes has another setback or something, I mean, you got to think Ballantyne's going to be next man up there for CB2.
Right. And he Hafley kind of talked about it, being able to rotate them all in at a spot, even if one of them's not a starter day one, or, he doesn't even know who's going to be the starter. But if we can find a role for them, rotate them in, and they have that specific role within this team that they excel at, perfect. Keep them on the team. Everybody gets a spot. Let's roll.
Yeah. Smitty in the chat says Hafley doing what leaders do, deflecting praise to highlight the talent around you for your success. If these guys do well, he's going to be praised for it, right? And It's just getting those guys, keeping them motivated, keeping them in the right position to do what they need to do.
I don't know what you got planned for the rest of the show, Clayton, but if there is, by chance, if we have some time to kill, I sent you an article of somebody that did their basically a way too early 53-man roster right now. And it'd be really, just to look at it compared to what we did last year at the beginning of the year, I'm telling you guys, there's going to be some crazy hard decisions where you wouldn't even think, like, for instance, Ballantyne, he spoiler, he doesn't make the list. And you're like, well, how would we not get Ballantyne on? When you look at the list, there's going to be about, in my opinion, 5 to 12 guys where you're like, I don't understand how we're not going to have this guy on the team. And it's really going to be a hard decision. So I don't know what we have going on for the rest of the episode, but at some point this week, we should look at that and just kind of try to dissect it. Cause I don't think people understand how hard the decisions are going to be this year. It's going to be crazy.
You scared me. You said, I don't know what you got planned for the rest of the show. I thought you were going to suggest we go to C-SPAN or something. I didn't know what was going on there for a second. But Dylan in the chat says, I agree, Ron. The guys Goody brings in already have that mature, hardworking personality. Hafley just needs to show them the big picture to chase after. Mick in the chat says, Oladapo toe news. I think he still has a toe, last I heard. So he still has a toe. Not sure how healthy. Anybody heard
just
any?
the tip, though.
Anybody heard anything on Oladapo's toe? Anyone at all? No.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. So moving along, 2-0 for this says Jeff uses the scheme to fit the guys, not like other DCs who miss what their players do best by forcing them into a box of their scheme. You know, that was something I think Richard Sherman actually mentioned too about Hafley, was just allowing them to play. You know, it's something Barry did too. Like Jair kept playing off. Jair came out and said, I like to play off. They were letting him play off, and they were actually trying to convince him to play closer to the line of scrimmage. So I wouldn't say that, you know, I don't think there's what am I trying to say here? I don't think there's a lack of coordinators that are willing to do that. I think Hafley just understands defense at a whole nother level, though. Like, he not only does he understand, okay, here's how you play with leverage, but he also understands different route combinations, different passing concepts. Not that any other DC in the NFL doesn't understand what those concepts look like and how they attack, but just being one step ahead and teaching guys fundamentally on a one-to-one basis, like, hey, here is how you identify what they're doing, as opposed to just, look, this is what they like to run, stand here in this spot, play this certain look, play this certain defense. I think he's going to give them some freedom for sure. No doubt about that. So let's see here. M. Smitty says, Dylan, I think 100, I think that also gets to Hafley's talking about the fan support and people still tailgating at 9 p.m., 6 hours after practice ended. We got that drop too. Probably my favorite of the day, to be honest with you. But here is Coach Hafley talking about Kenny Clark and his leadership. This was a pretty cool clip here too.
Kenny's new contract earlier last week.
But look how he smiled as soon as they asked him Kenny Clark. Look at him, dude. He's like,
right up.
That's my guy.
Does he bring to this team as a coach that maybe we don't see out of him?
Yeah, I mean, congrats to Kenny. I mean, I think he's so deserving of that in so many different ways in the short period that I've been around him. One, you study his film. I think he's one of the best interior D linemen in the whole National Football League. And I think most people would say that. But he's another guy which, I mean, you guys have been around these players here in longer than I have. I think they've done such a good job of drafting high character people that are great people on and off the field. And I think Kenny's one of the best. I mean, he's such a good pro. He's so good with the younger players. He's so fun to coach. I mean, he sits in his room and he takes notes like he's a first-year player. He's a good teammate on the field, and he's disruptive. I mean, I love what he does off the field. I love what he does on the field even more. I'm very glad that he's going to be here. He deserves it.
What is it like to have those older veteran players for the young guys to look up to?
It's so important. I mean, they need to take ownership. They're the ones that are out on the field, and those are the ones that have to teach the younger guys how we do things. I mean, as a coach, yeah, it's nice. You get guys to buy in and lock in. You tell them something. When you get a guy like Kenny grabbing a young D lineman or grabbing a young guy at any position, and he tells him something or he tries to give him a little nugget on something, you don't even know how far that goes, right? And he's a selfless player who just wants to help other guys. And again, I think we have guys like that at every position, which makes it a lot of fun to coach these guys right now.
Yes. Obviously, Kenny Clark has impressed the hell out of Jeff Hafley. And I love what he said about the notebook, man. Like, he's in there like a first-year player, right, with the notebook. Just that. What do you guys think, man? You think Kenny Clark takes his game to a whole nother level this year?
Yeah, I don't think he takes this new contract lightly. I think he knows what this means. He's been here since he was 19, 20 years old, something like that. I think of all the guys on this team, he's probably got the best shot at being a guy who retires a Packer when it's all said and done. It's his D-line group. He is the leader. He's got a coaching staff that trusts in him and believes in him and is going to allow him to do what he does best, which is to, make some plays and lead this young defensive line group. And, you can't say enough good things about Kenny Clark. He's, Rashawn and Kenny have really emerged as big leaders on this defense in the last couple of years. And which is crazy because a few years prior, they were kind of the less vocal guys, not as much of vocal leaders as they have become now. Now they're hands-on vocal leaders, doing it by example and, like I said, vocally and just coaching guys up. They're almost like player coaches at this point. So it's an asset to our defense for sure.
Yeah. Eric Sutherland says, I think this will be Kenny's best year. Man, I hope he steps up big time. And not that it's been a lack of effort. We all would agree it's not been that. It's just, has it been the right scheme? Has he been kind of handcuffed? Are they going to get Ogabasi in there to help him with his run defense and be a little bit better tackler and arriving, at confrontation with a little more balance, a little more control? Maybe that could be it. A little more one gap pressure helps everybody, I believe. Now, you got to be careful with the explosive plays on the ground, obviously. But what do you think, Jacob? Do you think Kenny flourishes this year? And whether he does or doesn't, what's really cool is we got that 3-year extension, which we pointed out is really just a 2, and the team can get out of it after 3, essentially. And maybe that'll give you time to decide, hey, is Devontae White or Carl Brooks the D tackle of the future? But right now, man, Kenny's definitely the leader on this team, isn't he?
Yeah. I guess to me, it's just going to be all in how we're going to use him, because I don't know. It's not that Kenny and Jair are kind of in the same category for me, where it's like, we paid you a lot of money. Am I necessarily thrilled with the return on investment? No. But do I still want you on my team? Yeah, for sure. So I guess I'm just waiting for both of them to kind of dazzle me a little bit this year. That'd be great if you just play like you're paid and be the absolute leaders we need at that, position. And like Jake just said there, he wants to hear everybody's stat predictions on Kenny. He says, let's stick our necks out there, be bold. So I'm going to say,
what I was going to ask him is what do you mean by your prediction? So specify there, Jake, what do you want a prediction on? I'll give you one.
I would say, I would hope that he's plus 10 sacks and at least gets maybe I want him over 40 or 50 pressures. I think that'd be pretty reasonable.
I like that. I think it's going to be big. Kenny to be stepping up this year is going to be Rashawn back at 100%. It's going to be edge pressure from Preston. It's going to be, Carl Brooks taking a step, Devontae Wyatt taking that extra step that we've been kind of waiting for. So I think that he does have it. I want him to be a household name, right? Top 5, D tackle. We want him to be, the Williams or, I want him to be a Donald. But I want him to be remembered. Like we talk about Raji, is it just because he took a pick 6, or is it because he was a dog on the interior D line? So I think Kenny's got it. I'm excited for him to take off this year.
Yeah. So his stats last year, if you're talking about combo sacks, right, combined sacks, Kenny Clark had 7.5 from the defensive tackle position. Now I'm assuming. He didn't play technically defensive end. Let me reset this real quick with SIS just to make sure I'm not missing that, because he may have lined up at defensive end and gotten a sack, and they kind of threw that in there. Let me double check that real quick and see what we've got here real quick. Packers. This is great podcasting. All right, Kenny Clark, 7.5 sacks. All right, and then I think there was 41 pressures is what I seen, Jacob. So he got 41 pressures and 7.5 sacks last year. So everybody's talking about how Kenny's going to flourish in this new defense, right? So how many pressures, how many sacks? That would be the prediction. I'm going to say one gap. If he's healthy, that's the other thing that comes into play, too. That's why I don't like predictions. Well, I tell you what, he ends up with 12.5 sacks. It's on like Donkey Kong. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 9.5 sacks. All right. 9.5 sacks, and I'm going to say 45 pressures. All right. We need somebody to keep up this for us, too. So anybody wants to write this down. But what's everybody else? So I said 9.5 sacks and 45 pressures.
What do you have, Jacob?
Yeah, I said what I say. Oh, plus 10 sacks.
I said
like him somewhere between 40 and 50 pressures. I would love like 10 or plus tackles for loss. And then if you had anywhere from a PFF grade from a 75 up, I'd be like, yo, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
that's cool.
You said 10 plus sacks.
Yep.
How many pressures?
40 to 50 pressures.
So
10 plus tackles for loss. And
such a wide range.
75.
40 to 50. Somewhere between 70 and 100 tackles for a loss.
I catch a niner in there. Or?
Hey,
I'm gonna put 40 pressures. Okay, Tim, what do you got, big dog?
I'm actually pretty close to Jacob here on this one. I'm gonna say 10.5 sacks, and I'm gonna go with you, Clayton. I'm gonna agree 45 pressures.
All right.
I will say I'll say 9 tackle for loss, and I think he's going to push 80 on the grade this year. I think we're going to see a big jump. I really do. 79 to 80 on the grade.
We'll leave the tackle for loss out, and let's just go 80 grade for Tim. Jacob, what'd you say? 70? What'd you say? 75 plus?
75 plus. That'd be good.
All right, so we're 75, and then for me, I'm going to say a PFF grade of 77. All right.
That's a good point. Here's Jake's reference. Never mind. You can't look at that yet, Emilio. Make your guess.
My guess was going to be, I was going to say maybe go a little lighter on the sacks. I was going to say 8.5, but heavy on the pressures, like 55 maybe. And then for what was the other one we were going to do? Grade, I would say I want them 78, 79 at least. Yeah, I guess I'll go with 78.
All right, 78.
Right. So Shavink says here for reference, Kenny's best numbers at each: 64 pressures in 2021, 7.5 sacks last year, 9 tackles for loss 2023 and 2019, and in 2018 he had his best defensive grade of a 90.2.
I love that.
Can I add something else to this too that nobody's really talking about with Kenny? Is availability. We always say you can't make the club in the tub. Don't quote me on this. I'm doing a little research, but it looks like since 2020, Kenny Clark has missed 4 games.
Yeah.
Four games since 2020. So, just sheer availability, helping us get off the field on third downs. I mean, this is what this guy does. And we can't overshadow that. We can talk about, predictions all we want, but the guy's available. And I fully believe he's probably going to play all 17 games this year and well into the playoffs. So availability is clutch, man.
Yeah. And what I was getting at is like, I maybe his PFF grade will go up just a touch, but I don't see the productivity like going crazy other than the sack total, because when we're facing base personnel, 21 and 12 personnel, in some cases 13, we're no longer going to be in that 34 jam playing 2 gap. We'll be in a 4-3 front, whether it's an over, under, even, whatever, and he'll be playing 1 gap. I think it might net him a couple extra sacks on the year. So we'll see how that goes. Jake also goes on and says, would love to see Clark get that missed tackle rate back down to where it was in the first 3 years. That's going to be crucial for the run defense. There's no doubt about it, man. No doubt about that. And most of the time, those missed tackles, too, what's crazy is that was in 1 gap situations where he just split the blockers, got in the backfield quick, running back made a move, and he just whiffed, right? So, I don't know. Maybe he'll be more comfortable with this, but that's a good conversation, man. I really enjoyed that. All right, back to Jeff Hafley. This is a really cool clip. They were asking him about what he thought about the tradition, Green Bay's tradition of the kids riding the bikes to the practice, right? Check this response out, man. This dude is he is really, really embracing the city of Green Bay and being a Green Bay Packers coach for sure.
You enjoyed the traditions that come along with Packers training camp, the bikes, and obviously family night coming up.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I opened the door and I just saw those people. I felt like it was game day. I had no idea what was going on. And then all the kids with the bikes, I think that's so cool. I mean, the kids were lining up with their bikes. I mean, people asking for autographs. Every day you walk through and it feels like game day. And then you walk and it's a sellout practice and there's people in the stands. Shoot, I left last night late and I think people were tailgating in our parking lot at 9:00 at night. We ended practice at like 12:15. I mean, there was people tailgating in our parking lot at 9:00 at night on a Sunday. Practice has been over for 6 hours. People are asking for autographs and running around. And I mean, so yeah, I'm really excited for family night. I don't think I have any clue what that's going to be like. But how awesome are the fans here? I mean, showing up like that and loving the team so much. Where else in the world does that happen? So I love it. It's awesome. And the players love it. Think about all the energy it brings. Every single day they run out and fans are standing up and clapping and cheering. And I mean, it is a great place.
Hey, tell Evan Siegel all camera lenses focused on Jeff Hafley on family night. I want to see his reaction.
Oh yeah.
I want to see his reaction when he first walks out there and sees that crowd.
Let me text Evan right now.
Do you think this guy was running around there at like 9:00 at night?
You call me anything you want, but don't call me that.
Hey, I'll just tell you, it's a good thing that nobody got me on camera out there in the parking lot last night. I'll just tell you that.
Been out there all day.
We're going streaking through the quad and into the gymnasium. I remember my first trip to Lambeau when me and Mandy came out of the stadium. We stayed in there until they kicked us out. We did not want to leave the stadium. When we finally came out, I just remember one of the things that was in the parking lot was it said the world's largest tailgate grill. And it was the bed of an 18-wheeler sponsored by Johnsonville Brats. And the whole bed of this 18-wheeler was just a grill, and they were just grilling brats and giving them away for free to everybody. I guess the Packers paid for it. That was the coolest thing ever. But when we left that night and everyone had kind of filed out and all that, I remember walking through the parking lot. And the one thing that caught my eye was this one Miller Lite can that you could tell still had about a quarter of a beer in it. Like whoever was drinking it, they couldn't even hold it any longer. They just dropped it and walked off. You know what I mean? I've got that picture here at the house frame where I took a picture of that Miller Lite can just laying there in the parking lot. I was like, this place is unbelievable, man. But it was a hell of an experience, and it's cool to see even coaches kind of respond the same way as fans do. I mean, Emilio, the first time you went up there, I'm sure it's the same type of thing, right? I mean, everybody remembers their first trip to Lambeau Field.
Yeah, dude. Like I said, I got chills driving down the highway, seeing the G in the distance. But then once you got close and just like got the feeling of everything, walked through all the all the tailgate and went inside the bowl, it was crazy. Once you walk through that last stadium little shadow and open up, it's something to see. But the fact that the fans are bringing that energy every day, we get Tim out there screaming, cheering the coaches on. I love that. But no, really, it's like you said, it brings that energy for the players too. It helps them keep their energy up. They don't come out flat. They don't come out, pouting, moping. It's got to be good to, get a smile. I mean, like life's too short, right? Let's get a smile on their face. We're still playing a game, but we came here to work. So let's have fun. Let's get to work, do the work, head back, have fun, go home. And that's really what it needs to be about. So I love it, man. I do need to get up there one day for training camp, see what it's like.
Yeah, same, man. Same.
I'll tell you, one of the best things is the fact that you can just buy your ticket to the game, get up here, and just walk through that parking lot, and you're going to get a drink, you're going to get a brat, you're going to get a burger, you're going to get new friends, you're going to meet old friends, you're going to have the time of your life, and it's going to cost you the price of admission. That's about it. That's the wonderful secret about going to a Packer game. You got a ticket to the game, just walk through that parking lot. You're going to have a full belly and plenty to drink before you hit kickoff for sure. So
yeah. Smitty in the chat says Green Bay Nation always shows up and represents, especially at Lambeau. Will never forget watching my kids walking out from the stadium to see the field. Jacob, you remember the first Packer game you went to, man? I know you were a young whippersnapper, I'm sure, but you remember?
I honestly don't remember the first, just because I used to get taken there by my parents when I was, you know what I mean? So, like, I remember the first time that me me and my buddies went. Yeah, it was. It was December. I think it was December 3rd, 2003. If I'm not mistaken, we lost to the Jets, and I was there for the best seats of my life. It was the worst half in Packer football's history. I'm pretty sure that we went down like 27-0 or whatever at halftime, and I was just like, "Cool, awesome!" Like,
there you go.
Totally sober on Jägermeister. Didn't throw up in the porta potty at all.
Jacob, my first game we lost to the Jets too, dude. It's got to be just a bad luck sort of
right.
thing.
That was your first one.
Chris Ian says my first game was at County Stadium. Tim, you got some memories at County Stadium, don't you, man?
I sure do. As a little type.
Sure
Most definitely. And I got some memories of this beast right here. This was what Lambeau. That's what Lambeau Field looked like when I went to my first game back in 1994, something like that, against Tampa Bay. Yeah, the Green Monster, the old Lambeau. Gotta love it. But yeah, lots of great memories. But yeah, Chris is right, man. Milwaukee County Stadium. I mean, you talk about some great Favre to Sharp connections. Some great. What the hell is Brett Favre doing type moments, all of that. Yeah, man, the County Stadium days were something to remember for sure. Definitely.
Chewy in the chat says drinking that warm flat beer at County State.
That's right. And you got to get that hot dog with that secret stadium sauce too, man. That was clutch always.
Dude, yeah. Well, I mean, I had the ones at Lambeau. I had like 3 of those things. That was the only thing getting me through the game. Too old for this set of here. I mean, you got to watch them, and then you heard after the game the JETS Jets, and then sauce threw the cheese head on.
Yeah, no,
that was a tough game.
We don't need any reminders. Ugh.
My first Packer game was, I think it was 03 or 04. I get the years mixed up, but it was Packers Bears. It was the alumni game, so they had all the old school Packers sitting on a bench down next to the field. Really cool. We go in and we got our tickets, and we go to sit down, and these 2 guys came up to me and Mandy, and they were like, "Hey, we've got some seats that are closer to the field. Would you like to switch with us? Because we could only get two together, and our wives are down there sitting." And I remember looking at the guy and was like, "Listen, I'll trade with you, but I promise you, if these tickets are fake, I'm coming right back up here, and I'm going to see you. And we're both getting escorted out of this joint." Like I was a hothead back then, but man, I switched seats with him. I go down, and we sit next to this little old couple, and he was at the Ice Bowl, and he just talked to me the entire game about all the memories he had at the stadium. It was literally a God thing. It was unbelievable. First time at Lambeau Field. Opening drive, Packers drive straight down the field. Just running it right down the Bears' throats. This was Amon Green and Brett Favre, and it was just unbelievable. Get down inside, I think it was the 10-yard line, running play to the right. Brian Urlacher rips the ball out of Amon Green's. Somebody rips the ball out of Amon Green's hands. They returned it for a touchdown. I'll never forget. I looked up, and these 2 drunk guys next to me went. They were like sitting back on me. They went, "Well, we got that out of the way." It was like the first drive of the game. It was all, but everybody still had a great time. It was just unbelievable. The other thing too is like where we parked. For one of the first things we did when we got into Green Bay, we went to Alloway and went over and seen Curly Lambeau's grave, put a little green and gold football on his grave, and all that. And when we came to park, I was trying to find a place to park, and there was a house there, and they had like parking, $15, $20, whatever it was. So I pulled up there. I was like, "You got some spots?" They said, "Yeah, absolutely." So paid it, pulled in, parked. He said, "Listen, we're going to be tailgating. The door will be unlocked all day. If you need to use the restroom, go in, help yourself." I was just like, what is this place? This is unbelievable, man. It was just, and I'm not sure if anybody would do that today, but it was just, that was the whole experience for me. People were, like Tim said, you couldn't walk through the parking lot without someone offering you food, drinks. Yep. It's just like one big family. I feel like they're very respectful to away fans as well, and I take pride in it. I really do.
That's something league-wide we hear a lot. A lot of opposing fans say that about their experiences at Lambeau. Even our arch nemesis, our worst rivals, our most hated opponents, we treat with a level of respect here at Lambeau, and it's something unique because I'll tell you, I wouldn't Wouldn't want to go to too many road games as a Packer fan. There's a couple towns that come to mind that we're probably not very welcome in. But everybody gets treated with respect when they come visit Lambeau Field.
Definitely. If you guys would take a quick second, hit that like button for us so other Packer fans can find this channel and help them find this content by boosting that algae for us. But, that's why I'm excited about going to the Titans game on the road this year. As Emilio knows, as Jacob knows, people down in Nashville, it's awesome, man. It's as long as you don't run your mouth down there, you're good. Tennessee's a great state. I grew up in Kentucky. I've lived in Tennessee since I was 18 years old now. And just good people down there, really good people. But they don't put up with any crap. Somebody comes in there drunk, running that mouth, you're going to get tossed out on your head. It's going to happen. But for sure. So
I found the exact game for sure. It was December 3rd, 2006. It was the Packers Jets. I was in the south end zone, 3 rows up. I was there with my buddy Mike. It was his birthday, and my cousin Tyler. And that's when we were running through the Don Hudson Center late for the game. And I ran, literally smacked into Gilbert Brown. And I looked up and I was like, oh my God. And I jiggled his belly like a bowl full of jelly to the point where my cousin Tyler's like, stop it. And I was like, you're Gilbert Brown. And he just was like, shh. And then we just ran away. And I was like, bye, Gilbert. And anyways.
Hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
That's hilarious, man.
Nothing. So,
so the game
Pennington.
The game I went to was definitely 2004. It was September 19th. Unfortunately, the Packers lost 21-10, and it was the Amon Green fumble, and it was recovered by a gentleman by the name of Mike Brown, and he returned it for a touchdown. So hate that guy, by the way, to this day. Still hate him. So.
Is he a D-back? Mike Brown? I think so.
What's that?
I said I'm pretty sure Mike Brown was a D-back for the Bears. I hated him.
Yeah, that's the dude that ruined my first trip to Lambeau, but I feel like we've gotten him back since then for sure.
Okay.
All right, anything else? Anything else at all that y'all want to hit on before we get out of here?
Steno, do you have any of his on or no?
I've got some of his. We're kind of up against it. Is there one specific you wanted to hear, Emilio? Here's what I got. I got him talking about Jordan Morgan. I got him talking about Josh.
We can just do that. We can do Jordan Morgan's real quick.
Okay. He also talked about Rasheed Walker too. That one was interesting. So you want to hear the Jordan Morgan one?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let me get it up here real quick. All right, this should be it right here. So here's Adam Stan. What I love, you see Hafley, eye contact, smiling, excited. And then look at our boy Stanovich. He looks like my dad every time he found out me at 16 years old, I drank his last beer. This is the look I got right here.
You didn't replenish?
Yeah.
I taught you anything, it's to replenish.
He called the dude on the phone. Was it his uncle or something?
Yeah, it was his dad.
Replenish.
It's a microcosm of something else in his life.
Oh, man.
Jacob got issues.
Jacob, you got to screen record that, post it on Twitter, and I'll retweet it. Just tag me. We got to get everybody to see that, man. That was hilarious. Anyway, here's Adam Stanovich, a.k.a. my dad's pissed off out of beer face, talking about Jordan Morgan.
Went into the decision to begin.
There it is again. Look, you drank it. I know you drank the last one.
12 for this says the same thing. He looks like that guy.
2-0 for this says Steno has a movie coming out soon called Despicable Me 4.
Morgan at guard, and do you think you're going to keep him there for most of camp?
Yeah, I think with young guys, you kind of want to start them at a spot, and you don't want to move them around as much just so they can hone in on the techniques and the assignments and all that stuff. And when you look at the big picture, kind of where you think he would compete best this year for a starting role, we looked and we thought the right guard position was the spot. So I think as of now, we'll kind of focus there. And, as he grasps it and gets better there, we can, move him around if we want to, or he does a great job there and he stays there and we're good to go. So I think right now we're just focusing on keeping him at one spot. That way he can really hone in on it and be the best that he can be.
I think he's going to pick that.
So, Jacob, obviously we talked about this the last few days, right? And how Jordan Morgan's kind of taken over that right guard spot. To me, it feels like that's where he's going to end up. Unless we're having to deal with some injuries, obviously. But do you think about what he said there, man? It's kind of like it's the starting point, right? And let's see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to toot our own horns too often or too much, but we did literally say that we think, at least I said, I thought that it's a good spot. It's the biggest point that we need, our biggest emphasis of where we actually need something on the offensive line. So let's not try to force anything. And I think it's a perfect spot for him to kind of get his feet wet in the NFL. The guard position hopefully is a little less whirlwindy for a guy that's coming in. We talked about how he has all the traits athletically that he needs. So just to go in there, and I love what he talked about, how like, hey, let's give him a spot. Let's let him learn that spot for year one. We don't need to move him around. He doesn't need to learn how to do although in the future, maybe one of the best attributes he has to offer this team is that he can be versatile. Let's just make sure that he has right guard figured out, solidified as we go into week one. That way, he goes on to talk about, like, he's like, well, who's your swing tackles? And he listed like 4 or 5 guys, which I thought was really cool too. Everyone from Tenuta to Telfort to Glover to Jonathan Jennings to Dillard, which I can't believe he's still dropping Dillard's name, but he basically made it sound like that he wants Morgan to stay at the at the guard position between him and our boy Elton and Mr. Sean Ryan. I think that's what's going to be the rotation there.
Yeah. Emilio, you got anything you want to add to that, man?
Yeah, no, I think Jacob hit it on. Let's get him solid at right guard, let him roll. But that also gets me excited because he said that what chance did he have to start, right away? What chance did he have to, be in a starting battle to move forward? Which means that they're confident in Rashid at, left tackle, Eldon at left guard, Myers at center, and Zach Tom at right tackle. So the only opening for a battle for, the first round pick is going to be at right guard, which I'm totally fine with. Yeah, he did play left tackle, left guard, right tackle all over the line. Let's get him practice there. But like Jacob said, let's make sure he's locked in, ready to roll at right guard. And then he can always grow from there. I mean, if, a lot of guys come in to play from tackle to guard, and if he's got it, right? If his arms are short, but he can still block, he's David Bakhtiari. So it's totally up to him. And I like that they're pushing him to get better, but I'm sure he's got a lot to learn in steps, punch, reach, reading different rushes. He's got LVN, Gary, Kenny Clark. It's like you were talking about, I think it was Pod earlier, you and Jacob, one of you were, but iron sharpens iron, even with Ja and Tay, but again, with our O-line against, an excelling D-line, and kind of all around there.
Yeah, definitely. And, we were poking fun at Stenavich and everything. They say he looks like Gru from Despicable Me, but look at this cat right here at Michigan.
Jeez.
There's the guy.
That's Stenavich. So, he was out there smacking people in the mouth. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's that?
Nothing.
So you like his gloves? Is that what you said?
No, he's got the Night at the Roxbury see-through mesh shirt going on right there.
Those are the jerseys, Jacob.
Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
Never again. We got one comment in here I wanted to hit on real quick. How would you say that name? Is Zacchaeus? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jacob. I see you making that face. Say it.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
I think it's Zacchaeus.
Right? It's Zacchaeus.
Zacchaeus.
Yeah. So he says, do you think Josh Jacobs will have a better year than he did last season with the Raiders?
Yes.
So I think he will. And one of the main reasons is he now has a quarterback. That helps. That defenses think, they might throw the football successfully here, right?
Yeah.
So that, and also, we broke down, me and Jacob the last few days have been breaking down the outside zone weak runs. That is kind of the staple of Matt LaFleur's offense. The next one we're going to be covering from Bobby Peters' book is outside zone weak slice, which is what you guys hear me refer to as split flow or split zone, right? Jacob, we were talking about the success they had with outside zone week, and I'm trying to think of what the numbers were I think that was it right there. Give me just a second. Outside week, yeah. So average 4.9 yards per play with every normal outside weak zone run, right? With outside zone weak slice, specifically slice, where you've got the sift block. And again, they struggled early in the year. We talked about that. They went away from it, came back to it in the second half, and it was absolutely on fire. They averaged, when they ran weak outside zone slice or split flow, 6.9 yards per carry on that play. So it was literally – it was more successful than the outside zone, just generally speaking. It's a specific type of outside zone. So on first down, they caught it 12 times, 7.3 yards per carry when they caught it on first down. Second and 6 to 1 or 1 to 6 yards, they caught it 3 times for 5.3 yards a carry. In the red zone, they only caught it 1 time inside the 10, and it was a touchdown run. So it was one of the most successful plays they had last year. And that's one of the reasons why Aaron Jones kind of went off there towards the end of the year, is because they really got that working. They've even got a really cool diagram talking about how the U, when they're in 12 personnel, they'll put the U out wide. They'll bring him in on a little yo-yo or a little can't remember the other term people use. Zipper. So it was kind of a half zipper, stop in between the guard and the tackle, and then slice across at the snap. And you just get so much eye candy going on the play that it draws the linebacker's eyes from the running back to all this movement going on and that little split-second hesitation. I say all that because, like Zacchaeus said here, hopefully that's how we're pronouncing that name right. If you dump our boy Josh Jacobs into that kind of environment, into that kind of running scheme, and you've got Jordan Love stretching the field with people like Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, and everybody's healthy, yeah, I expect Josh Jacobs. He may not be the leading rusher like he was in 2022, but he's going to be a way, way better than he was last year. I really believe that. So, all right, with that being said, anything else? Anybody got anything else you want to hit on before we wrap up here?
Just real quick, I don't know. Zachary King says, please can someone spotlight this and let me know if there's something that's going on with Pandora. Apparently, Zachary uses Pandora. He says there has not been pods there the last 2 weeks. Sad face emoji. Sorry about that, Zachary.
Yeah, I think Zachary actually asked me that a couple of days ago. Zach, I haven't heard anything, man. I've never used Pandora, so I'm not sure. But I do know this. I personally upload every one of our pods. I can 100% confirm I'm doing nothing any different than I ever have. So I don't want to try to steer you away from your favorite platform, but there's a number of different platforms. The one I use is called Podcast Republic. It's an app, really, really smooth. I know a lot of people like to use Spotify.
Yeah, that's what I use.
But Podcast Republic is free. It's very easy to organize all your podcasts in. Maybe check it out. I'll ask Ryan Schlipp, who obviously is the founder of Packernet Podcast. I'll see if he knows anything about Pandora, and we'll try to get you an answer.
I got a job.
Yeah. Or even Rumble, because Rumble could.
Well, I've got him away for a while, man. Try to get first.
Rumble could even do that with I'm pretty sure you can like pull it up, play it, and then play it in the background with your screen locked also. So that's an option.
Got it. Yeah. Like I said, Podcast Republic's smooth. No ads, no nothing. It's pretty awesome. So it's probably not what you want to hear, Zach, but that's the best thing we got. And I apologize for the background noise. I actually hit the remote and turned the TV on. So
yeah, I'm surprised college football didn't start blast.
Drum roll, right? Exactly. All right. Anything else, fellas? Anything at all?
See you guys at practice tomorrow morning.
Ooh, you heard it from a fan.
You heard it from a fan.
Tuesday morning, 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Practice will be underway at Ray Nitschke Field unless the weather drives them inside. But, Tim, what's the weather looking like tomorrow? Any idea, man?
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be a little hot and humid.
What was it, Ollie off of Family Guy? It's going to rain.
Some rain in the forecast, but I don't think anything crazy like we saw last week when it downpoured and it was like a monsoon out there during practice. But it should be a good week to go to camp. So if you haven't been up, get up while you can here Tuesday, Wednesday,
it's going to be hot.
Yeah, so you got practice tomorrow, practice Wednesday, practice Thursday, also Thursday night, the very first preseason game with the Hall of Fame game. And then no practice on Friday, Family night will be Saturday. Also on Saturday will be the Hall of Fame speeches, which will be a cool little ceremony to tune into, I'm sure, all over NFL Network, ESPN, all that good stuff. So, and then, of course, we're family night on Saturday. Then we're 1 week away from the very first preseason game. So there you go. With that being said, in the upper right, got a QR code there. You can scan that. That'll send you to our Patreon group if you want to join our Patreon community. That'll get yourself entered into all the giveaways that we do, where we're giving away autographed memorabilia. The next giveaway we're going to be doing is going to be a copy of Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0 by Pat Kerwin. Mm-hmm. It's the perfect football book. Whether you've watched football for years or you're just now starting to watch football, there's a lot to be gleaned from it. It's the book that when people say, hey, I want to start learning about football, where do I start? Start there, because it's deep enough for people who already know the general concepts of football, but also it's not set up and written in a way that's like you can't understand it. Pat Kerwin does an excellent job with that. And then if you've read Take Your Eye Off the Ball 2.0, go to Gridiron Genius by Michael Lombardi. It's an unbelievable book. So good. With that being said, everyone in the chat says it is rigged. It is rigged. It is rigged. And then Professor Cake says rigged majorly. All right. So this is the safe. We have the safest, most secure giveaways in the history of our great country. Okay. Just keep that in mind. So, all right. We're out. Boys,
for those of you listening on the pod,
thank you for making us a part of your day. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world. And as I think it was, who was it that said that actually? Tay Adams, great advice, parting advice.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
Wash your hands, wash your butt. Go out and be the change you want to see in the world, all right? Go Pack, go.